Hello everyone and welcome back to Nagash, and in this video we're going to continue my mini series going over all the previews that Warhammer Community is pumping out for the Warhammer Age of Sigmar 4th edition. So I just wanted to say thank you very much to everyone who watched my last video. As like I said, it's my first video coming back into doing this YouTube, and I know I said that a few times before, but it's all basically because, like I said, I've had to put all the YouTube stuff aside to work on getting my house, but now I've got it. We're going to be back up with the YouTube and it's going to be better than ever before. That is my plan anyway. And with that, let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on the Age of Sigmar 4th edition and what content you would like me to make for it in the future. So, starting off, we are going to look at the first article, which is Warhammer Age of Sigmar. What are the modular rules and what do they mean for you? So I understand I am playing a bit of a catch up on this, like I said in the last video, where like this article is on the 28th of March, but as we're reviewing them in bulk, we will get up to date. So you guys have probably already read this yourself or you've heard about it, but I just want to give you my sort of thoughts on it as well as the other articles too. The new edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar has been revealed with a totally fresh look to the core rules, featuring refinements and tweaks that make the most greatest fantasy miniature game even better. We've mentioned modular rules as one of these new changes, but what exactly does this mean? So yeah, it's something they've been mentioned in all the other articles, so I'm quite keen to sort of read into this. What I will say is this is my first time reading these articles as well, so you will definitely get my reaction and my sort of first thoughts on this, and obviously as time goes on it will change and I'll get better reviews as experience comes in. So, put simply, the game is divided into core rules and advanced rules. The core rules are quick to learn and cover moving, fighting, shooting, unit coherency, and everything else you need to know to play a simple battle from start to finish with objectives and terrain. The advanced rules cover commands, terrain, magic, army composition, command models, and battle tactics. As any experienced player will tell you, these are all vital for in-depth tactical games of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. So what makes them modular? Okay, so you've got the core rules here, so moving, fighting, shooting, unit coherency and objectives, like I said, and then the advanced rules, like I said up there, so commands, terrain, magic, army composition, command models and battle tactics. So obviously read a bit more into this, but first off the bat, I like this. It's kind of just written down literally, if you're new to the game, this is how you learn it with the core rules. Then once you've not mastered them, but once you got on top of them, you understand them, then you go on to the advanced rules. And I think a lot of people did this anyway, but it was when you were getting your friend, your mate, whatever, into Warhammer Age of Sigmar, you in your head had to think of a easy way for them to learn the game and ignore certain things, like you might not show magic until the second game and all that stuff. So the fact that they're doing it in a step-by-step process of how you should teach and get people into the game if you're new to the game, etc., maybe that makes your life a little bit easier. Or if you and your friend are getting into this off your own backs, it makes your life that much easier. So hopefully that is what it does. Rules have been structured in a modular manner, says Ben, the product developer for the game. This means that you can learn and play with the core rules, and then when you need them, you can go on to learn the advanced rules. You can even just leave them out completely if you want. Though some battle packs will require them, it's all part of making the game that existing players love more accessible to new players. Yeah, exactly. So big fan of that. Like I say, in a tournament and stuff, and don't get me wrong, not the most regular tournament goer, certainly not recently, but I'd like to be. All of this will be in effect. They won't be going, unless it's slightly different to what I imagine, they won't be going, okay, so we're not going to use terrain or like magic, or we're not going to use battle tactics. They'll all, I would presume, be in there. And because, like I said in the last video, even if you're not like a tournament player, tournament go by like match play rules or whatever they want to call them for this new edition, and because of that's like the standard, that's what most people play. So most people will be playing for this, but like I said, for the new people, fantastic. Modular is born from the idea that Warhammer Age of Sigmar is much more than just a game, continues Matt, the man in charge of the rules. It's essentially a platform that supports many types of games, people play Warhammer Age of Sigmar as a narrative experience, a competitive tournament game at sizes ranging from huge mega battles with hundreds of miniatures to smaller format games like Spearhead and everything else in between. Okay, so Spearhead's what they mentioned in the last video. Yeah, which sounds good for small point games, etc. And then it's more than just a game. It's a platform that supports many types of games. Maybe, I mean, it's just one game, isn't it? I suppose you've got Warcry, like Warhammer Age of Sigmar Warcry and Warhammer Age of Sigmar Underworld, so I don't know, that's what they're going off, but that's different rules. I don't know about that, but different, yeah, okay, it's not actual literal games, different types of games, like, playing a quick, 1,000 point game with your buddy, or you're, doing like a huge mega narrative game with 5,000 points aside or something like that. I think that's what they mean. Got me a little bit confused there. With modular rules, you only need to read the rules necessary to play the type of game you want. To play Spearhead, all you need to read is the core rules and no advanced rules. Everything else is covered in the Spearhead battle pack, the War Scroll cards, and the unique cards that Spearhead uses. Okay, yeah, so they're really trying to make Spearhead a very simple game to play, which then kind of, to me, basically says it's only for new players, unless you just want a really simple game, maybe. But I don't really have a problem with that. I think that's fantastic. People who pick up, I still call them start collecting boxes, but people who pick up these Spearhead boxes, they're new to the game, or maybe they're coming from 40k to Age of Sigmar. So there's obviously got a lot of experience, but not in specifically Age of Sigmar. So it's a nice, easy way to catch up with the rules. And then it says Path to Glory. So I don't remember what the numbers stand for. I'll be completely honest. I know it refers to like commands, terrain, magic, or something, and then I know the purple one I think was battle tactics, but anyway, you can see what they're going with it, saying that these are what's going to have to be used for the certain way you want to play the game. And that completely goes back to what I was saying earlier about match play. So that's still what they're calling it, and the match play and General's Handbook is the same thing plus the seasonal rules. Okay, so more rules for the season, which is, yeah, they were doing that a lot lately, the last year or two, with the General's Handbooks, which is good. See, that's continuing. And then, so most games will have every single one of these. Again, obviously, it's Warhammer, it's your plastic toy soldiers that you're playing games with. Play it however you want to. But the general concept will be you'll be using all of those battle packs, which is fairly straightforward. I think this, like I said at the start, this is literally just for helping you get into the game, which I don't think is a bad thing at all. And if these rules are really comprehensive and all that sort of stuff, and it's a lot to take on, like I said, I haven't played Warhammer for quite a while now, maybe I'll start off, doing like not all the battle packs in one go and slowly doing it, but I probably will just dive straight in, to be honest. But like I said, new people, fantastic. This system means that everything outside the core rules is designed to be plug and play, which has serious implications for future of the game. Those familiar with the General's Handbook will know that each season has focused on a unique spin from the predators and prey of Gur, which centered monsters and those hunting them, to the devastating primal magics channeled by Adtorian Locuses. I have no idea how you pronounce that word. I probably missed that bit of the season. In the current, yes, I have missed that. I didn't play that. The new modular structure provides a clean and clear way of implementing such things in the future. Okay, but those things are just the seasonal rules, right? That's not actually included in any of these 6 things. I don't know, I may be over worrying about this, but I just don't want them to do something like, right, so you've got all the core rules in your book you get with a big box that comes with the release of this game, or you can buy it separately. I do not want the other 6 battle packs to be things that you buy separately, otherwise that is just such a money grab. But I think that's just so obviously would be like a money grab that they won't do that, because like, could you imagine if they're probably saying they're not doing it down here, whatever, so probably fed up listening to this bit, but I just say, if it's like, right, the core book, you buy, etc., and then you have to buy a command book, a terrain book, a magic book, an army composition, command models, and battle tactics. I very much doubt that you have to buy 6 separate books of that, but if there's a slight chance that's the case, that'd be awful. Or maybe there'll just be one book for the advanced rules, so you've got to buy the core rules and the advanced rules and a general's handbook. I really hope that's not the case, because the amount of books you have to carry around and your battle tome, you have to carry around, have to buy, and then have to buy the updated advanced rules, and they come out and the updated general's handbook. That's the sort of thing that pushes you away from the game. So again, being a bit of a pessimist about it, not being very optimistic, but I just concerned about that. But hopefully I'm wrong, or maybe they're like PDFs or something like that. So I'm sure that won't really be a problem. So the current General's Handbook is set in Antor, there we go, I think, and focused on magic. It's one of it's one of my favourite seasons, it says, but in practice it ends up being a little bit awkward for newer players because the rules are split between primal magic rules at the beginning of the book and the standard magic rules. They interact with deep in the core rules, as the back of the book explains Matt. Yeah, I could probably understand that, because, like, let's say I haven't properly played this game for about a year and a half, 2 years, something like that. Like I say, I've been really busy with work. That I can understand what they mean by that. Not as much as someone who's brand new, but I'll be like, it's one of the things that made it very hard for me to dip in and out of Age of Sigmar. Like I say, I haven't played a game for like a year and a half at least. One of the reasons for that is because I couldn't really just dip in and play a game, because there had been so many more new rules in the seasons or whatever. I didn't have the latest General's Handbook, which I know is something you need if you want to play the games up to date and stuff, but I didn't know what all the new rules were, and I didn't have time to learn them all and try and get on top of them if I was just playing one game every 3 months or something. So I do understand where they're coming from, where if you weren't there at the start of the journey, you're going to get lost if you try and join it at the end. So I do see where that's coming from, so I can relate to what Matt is saying. And then going on to the next bit, it says, so how will modular impact this? In the future, we could simply replace the magic module entirely with a magic of Antor. Saying that absolutely horrifically. Module as an example. This could seamlessly integrate thematic modifications to magic rules for that matter pack without resorting to extensive core rules, erratas, or layers of extra rules on top. Okay, so I like this. In theory, it should all nicely work and make things less confusing and less like I have to read up on so many things to try and find the actual bit that you need to know in the rules. So yeah, I'm going to be optimistic. As soon as I see this multiple books you have to buy for this, I won't be happy, but I think I'm being a bit too pessimistic on that, and they've probably said somewhere that's not going to happen. There are also other benefits, as Matt explains. Say, for example, we find out during the course of a season match play that the economy of command points isn't quite right for competitive play. We don't need to issue an errata online. Instead, we could have a new General's Handbook with a new command module that is both thematically resonant and helps evolve the eternal balance. If we want to bring that advanced rule module back in the future, we can. I'm a little bit lost, to be honest with you, that. So does that mean that they are releasing these modules in like a General's Handbook? You know, so what, one comes out every 6 months, I think, at the moment. So you'd have to wait 6 months. Where would it be easier for them to just do it online? I don't know. I don't really understand that one too much, so let me know your thoughts on that in the comments. But yeah, they seem to be confident in knowing what they're doing. So the potential for this system is huge, and it helps clearly. Don't know what that word says. Severe dyslexic. Certain aspects of the rules for both beginners and experienced players, creating clear steps to follow when teaching the game. The team has plenty of ideas on how this might shake things up in the future, and you'll see from the start of the new edition how it works in practice. Tomorrow we'll be back with a look at one of the most exciting and unique aspects of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, the tactical twist known as the priority role. And when they say we'll go on to that tomorrow, we are going to go on to that right now, because we are looking at this from the future when this article was written. So yeah, going on about how this is going to work, the new rules. Like I said, hopeful, a bit pessimistic, but I'm probably just over worrying about it because I don't think Games Workshop would be that stupid. But, you know, I've been proven wrong about that before. So going on to Warhammer Age Sigmar, what is the priority roll? So this is mentioned in the last video as well. Priority roll, huge fan of it. Yes, it is very hit and miss. You know, you can have a great time and it can absolutely ruin your game. But there are definitely times where you're sort of like hanging on to strings in your game and you get the priority. Maybe you got a double turn and it's just allowed you to get that back into the game. And also, regardless on just it being luck, it makes you have to think ahead if you're going to lose the priority roll. What are your plans? Do you have to be super defensive? Can you be a bit more like aggressive? Do you have to be somewhere in the middle? It just makes so many more options. So you have to play rather than just, you know, your opponent goes, you go, your opponent goes, you go, your opponent goes, you go. Just a bit repetitive like that. And it's, you know, you can just foresee what's going to happen, I think, a bit too easily. So yeah, I'm a fan of the priority roll anyway. And then it says we've discussed how the modular rules in the upcoming edition of Warhammer Age allow for easier learning and customization as the game expands. Yeah, so with that, I think the main thing I've learned from the modular thing is it's just good for new players, which is a nice thing. But this is far from the only positive change in the new system. Today, it's time to tackle one of the most signature aspects of Warhammer Age Sigmar, the priority roll. So, the player who finishes setting their army up first gets to choose who takes the first turn. This feeds into the strategic element of list building, another part of the game which has undergone changes for the new edition because it may affect the composition of your army. At the start of every battle round, after the first players make a priority roll and the winner decides who takes the first turn, if it's a tie, the player who took the first turn in the previous battle round decides who goes first in the current battle round. Sometimes this means a canny player can take 2 turns in a row, often referred to as a double turn, which offers a substantial tactical advantage. So yes, this is what we're just mentioning. And I think that's how it works at the moment anyway. Yeah, that's how it works, isn't it? If it's... No, it is. Yeah, I remember like ages ago if it's a tie, just roll it again. But no, it is like if it's a tie. And the idea behind that is if you took the first turn in the previous battle round, it just means it's more unlikely for you to be able to get a double turn, which I think is a good thing. Like I said, I'm a fan of the priority roll, and you know sometimes a double turn can help you out, but I don't think it should be like a, you know, double turn shouldn't be a, well, I don't know, like a, I don't know the maths, but like a 50-50 thing. It should be, you know, it's quite hard to get. So yeah, and then going on to turn priority. Okay, so first battle round, first player to set up army chooses the turn order. Subsequently, battle rounds, players make a roll-off. So winner chooses the turn order. First player in the previous round chooses turn order. So yeah, just what they set up there. So that makes nice sense. I always do like pitches, so I'm a big fan of that. Those of you who have played other Warhammer tabletop games may find this a little odd initially, but it is crucial to understand the ebb and flow of Warhammer Age of Sigmar. The decision is rich with tactical depth and opens up a wide range of options for both forward planning and counter play, the latter of which have been considerably expanded in the upcoming edition. Yep, so basically summarised in a nice way what I was going on about in a bit of a ramble, saying why I do like the priority roll. What's more, it's here to stay in the new edition, but the balance between risk and reward has become a much more finely tuned. Now in match play, battle packs, when you choose to take a double turn, you give up your opponent. You give up your opportunity to pick a battle tactic for the turn. Ooh, okay, that's pretty big. It's still an incredibly powerful option, but the decision is now far from foregone conclusion. So again, it depends how you build your army. If you play this game really well, you build your army so it can use most of the battle tactics available. So you're never really in a position where you couldn't use a battle tactic, I would imagine. However, how I played the game, and I'm sure some other people did, is sometimes there's a turn where you look at your battle tactics and you can't really get them. So if you're in that situation and you can choose to have a double turn, obviously you'll take a double turn and you'd be like, I haven't really lost anything because I couldn't score the battle tactic anyway. However, that is, regardless, I'd say the minority of the time. So sacrificing a battle tactic which is scoring you victory points, and again, we don't know how that's going to work in this edition, how vital battle tactics are. I would imagine they are vital, but maybe they'll be less so. And then that makes you want the double turn, like you've compared it to double turn or battle tactic. Battle tactics don't really mean too much, so you're going to go double turn, but I think they'll probably still be quite vital. So yeah, big fan of that, because it makes you, it wasn't, because sometimes, obviously, where you can choose who takes the turn, it's better for you to let your opponent take it. But a lot of the time, especially if you've got an army that sort of steamrolls the enemy, you auto sort of take it. So I like it that there's an other negative to taking it as well. I'm a big fan of that. I think the priority roll, as it says, and the potential for a double turn can create really cool and dynamic outcomes where you can predict the flow of a game, explains Matt, the lead games designer, a developer for Warhammer Age of Sigmar, which we saw in the other article. You can't count out each player's moves. As simple as a straightforward you go, then I go. It's a wonderful possibility space. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not as simple as and as boring as like you go, I go, okay, I can plan. I can see how this is going to go in the future. It's easy to sort of plan it. No, you have to really think on your toes and be very reactive. Initially, the double turn might seem like an obvious advantage, but it's important to consider that many defensive abilities last until your next turn. I'm glad to see that's still a thing in the new edition. This means the player who goes second will often still have their buffs and defensive spells up and running. The primary skill expression in Warhammer Age of Sigmar is making the best tactical choice in the face of uncertainty. Matt continues, this is not chess. You have to react to things, literally what I said about being good and reactive. You have to react to things you can't be certain of. The double turn is a very powerful expression of this. You have situations in a turn where you just don't know if your opponent will be able to go twice. Maybe they have the positioning to take advantage of a double turn, so you need to position yourself correctly in response. But then what if they don't win the priority roll? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't know if you play defensively or aggressively or somewhere in the middle. You have to really sort of think about that and the possibilities that could come. According to Ben, the product developer of Warhammer Sigmar, on top level players will spend a lot of time considering when to give the double turn away and when to capitalize on it. Yeah, I'll definitely say that's a thing. People who are the top level side of this game probably on more average give away the double turn than people who are less experienced or play at a less competitive level. And I can fall into that guilty category. Like, sometimes I give away a double turn because I think very tactically about it, and then sometimes it's like, I want to kill stuff and I want to kill stuff now, and I take it. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. It says a player can pass on the opportunity to take a double turn knowing that they're set up in such a way that it won't really impact them. This gives them a chance to take a double turn later on and really capitalize on it. That's the mark of a great player. Exactly, and that is why those people win tournaments. When new players first learn about the double turn, it often raises a few eyebrows, but it's well loved by the community at large. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I often ask competitive players, playtesters and influencers the same question, says Matt. What they'd add to the game, what they'd change about it, and what they'd remove from it. By far, the number one answer to the last question is this: not the double turn. Our players are fiercely loyal to this concept, to the point it's become a bit of a rallying call. Yeah, I'd say that. And I think people who really don't like the double turn, I think probably most of them didn't stick around for the game because, funny enough, it happens quite a lot. Was it happened 4 or 5 times in a game? So yeah, if I really didn't like that mechanic, or I really didn't like a really core mechanic of how the game plays out, I probably wouldn't play the game. So I'm not surprised most people like it. And then I think most of the people who still don't like it that play are along the lines of they've generally been pretty unlucky, and they've lost the double turn a lot, and it's really hurt because they've played against armies that just shoot them to death, or they just get steamrolled, and it feels like it happens more often than not. And obviously, in my mind, I feel like I've lost the double turn more often than not because you remember the bad things more than the good things. But also, I will put my hands up. A lot of the time when that's happened, it's been because I didn't think ahead enough. I didn't make sure everything was defensible enough. So if I lost the priority roll, the double turn wouldn't hurt me too badly. So it's it's half bad luck and then half like I didn't plan ahead enough for it. So yeah, I think overall it is absolutely fantastic. And we'll soon be able to share more details on other changes that will inform your tactics and strategies, from command points and scoring to the new underdog mechanic. But the headline news is that the priority roll is here to stay. Get practicing for your forward planning, on which we'll have more to say later. Okay, so that's the end of this article. Yes, this article is essentially just a love letter to the priority roll, which I'm not against. Like I said, I like the priority roll. It's it sucks when it goes against you, but when you've got it, it's such an amazing feeling that you've got to ride the highs and lows, really. And the other news from this is that if you choose to take the priority, you will not get a battle tactic. Right, and then going on to the next article, which is going to be Liberators Reforged. So, heed Sigmar's call with the first miniature of the new edition. In the hour of direst need, Sigmar has thrown open the Ruination Chamber and called upon the last line of defense, veteran Stormcast Eternals, no more than a few reforgings away from losing themselves entirely. We'll see plenty from the Ruination Chamber shortly, but these grim heroes aren't the only ones heading into the Warpstone Poison depths of Blight City. They are joined by ranks of bold liberators, stalwarts of Sigmar's cause from the very first days of the Realmgate Wars. So this kind of goes into the whole idea that they are updating the range, etc., which, I've kind of talked on it before. I know there is an article, I haven't read it, but I know there is an article detailing all the units and models and stuff that are getting updated or moving to different games or just being squatted, and I'll go more into it there. I think it's fine. Let's just review it as it is on its own. So let's have a look at the video, which if there is like amusing stuff, I have to mute it, otherwise YouTube absolutely hates it. Yep, so it's in the new sort of style, obviously, as they've done for the other ones. Is it the Storm Strike armor? Can't remember exactly. But yeah, basically just no more chunkiness, just slim down model on it, which I like it. I also feel like I like the chunky boys as well. So yeah, so like I was saying, I like the chunky boys, but if I'm being really critical, the new shiny Stormcast Liberators do just look better, don't they? So, they're a lot more better detailed. So overall, they win. But I do always have a place in my heart for these chunky boys because it was the first set of Age of Sigmar I ever bought in the Star set that came out all those years ago. They say it was like 9 years ago or something like that. It does beckon back a while. Obviously, not old enough for these guys to have to be replaced, obviously, but they're changing the whole line. They're doing a whole basically the Primaris thing all over again. But with Stormcast, obviously they get reforged all the time, so when they get reforged they can have an updated design in their armor, can't they? So it all works out and it's in the lore. So what does it say? Clad in gleaming Sigmarite armor, Liberators are the backbone of the Storm hosts. They fight with stout shields and crushing warhammers, rebuffing incoming blows before launching a bone-shattering counterattack. So yeah, lovely detailed there. And then it says this new Liberator wears the sleek Thunderstrike armor. That was it. First seen on the spear-wielding Vindicators from the Dominion box set. First crafted by the smith god Grungi, however you pronounce it, to help the Stormcast souls punch through the cursed skies conjured by Be'lakor. More and more of Sigmar's warriors have been reforged with this highly mighty armour as fighting across the realms intensifies. When it says more and more, it means all of them because they're squatting all the chunky boys. And again, like I said, we'll talk about that in the when we get to the article. But yeah, obviously what I will say is if you have the chunky ones, just use them as the new ones. Nobody cares. And if they do care, don't play against them. They're not worth your time, my honest opinion. And then, yeah, this goes to show what they look like compared to each other. And to be honest, this guy is squatting down more, I'm sure, so that's why he looks more sort of hunched over and not as tall as these. But I don't know if it's obviously like bang on 100% accurate for scale, but obviously it's slimmer, but it doesn't really look too much slimmer. And if you're a Stormcast player and you've got the old boys and the new boys and you're comparing them next to each other, you might go, there's obviously huge differences in like their size, but in the pictures they presented, it doesn't look like it's too much. The only thing I can compare it to is like I had a Cruel Boy. What's like the boss you got who had like a flail or a shield in the Dominion box set? Anyway, he's standing on top of a Stormcast, and that Stormcast looked quite small compared to the old boys, and that's literally the only reference I have. But these guys look big enough. So the Liberator wears the colours of the Hallowed Knights, a Feverent storm host famous for their rousing battle cry of "Only the Faithful." They focus their efforts on purging lands of corruption, warding off unclean energies with a holy litanies, and their expertise will be sorely needed in the wake of the Vermin Doom. Okay, so what I will say about Hallowed Knights is that of all these storm hosts, they are potentially my favourite, just because way back in the day, when Age of Sigmar was very new, the audiobooks and books they had out at that time were heavily focused on Stormcast, obviously, and heavily, I would say, focused on the Hallowed Knights, or at least half of them were. And where I've got like Audible and I listen to a lot of things, because like I said, well, I'm severe dyslexic. I don't particularly like reading, as you can probably see from my videos here of reading the community articles. And yeah, so when I was listening to these audiobooks, it made you sort of like understand the lore and the sort of like the ethos behind the Hallowed Knights. And there was an audio drama, which was the first Age of Sigmar audio drama, back that time ago back then, and it was set in the realm of death, and it was about some Hallowed Knights that came down to try and find Nagash to talk to him about if he would like to become friends with Sigmar again. And I think you can kind of understand how that planned out. But on their journey to find him, they came across Manfred von Carstein, who had been imprisoned, and they released him, and he basically said he would help them find Nagash. And along the long journey they had through the realm of death, Manfred continuously made very, very good sarcastic jokes about the Stormcast to them, and it was very much a nice place in my heart to hear Manfred, who had a lovely voice actor, do a great job on slagging off the Stormcast when I was building my skeletons. Yeah, going, Stormcasts are stupid. So yeah, it was great back then. But anyway, that's why I like Hallowed Knights. And if you haven't listened to those audiobooks, etc., I would really recommend you do, as it gives you like, and even it's like the history of AOS, I suppose, but gives you a nice sort of like personal insight into just how different factions and stuff interact. And if you want to know more about, Manfred and all that sort of thing, or, just get a feel for what his character's like, definitely recommend listening to those audio dramas. Okay, so that is the Liberator. Then going on to the next one is how building your army has changed in Age of Sigmar 4th edition. So, we've already given you a taste of what's changing in the new edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, dug into what modular rules mean for you, and talked a little about the knife edge decision making behind the priority roll. Today, it's time to examine army composition. Yep, so let's see what it has to say. In the current edition, armies require at least one leader unit and a minimum of 3 battle line units, or 2 for 1,000 point game, along with other restrictions on behemoths, reinforcements, and so on. You can slot your units into various battalions that confer bonuses, such as a ever popular battle regiment, which allows you to deploy up to 9 units all at once. Yeah, because people want to decide who goes first, basically, so that's why it's so popular. As the player who finishes setting up first is rewarded with the... Okay, so it just literally says that. Player who finishes up first can decide who goes first. So it's a whole sort of thing of like, you have to balance list writing with, the risk of having those extra units for a case of, is it worth potentially not being able to choose who goes first? So the new edition maintains these incentives of risks and rewards, but takes a new route to emphasize flavour and flexibility. An army now comprises one or more regiments. Every army must have at least one regiment and can only take a maximum of 5. Okay, so each regiment is led by a single hero and can include up to 3 other units or 4. If it's a general's regiment, these regiments represent the retinues, warbands, and chosen warriors who will accompany a leader into battle. So every hero lists which units they can include in their regiment as part of their battle profile. In the case of a Lumineth Realm Lords, for instance, the Venari Banner Blade can include any Venari units in their regiment, while an Alarthrith Stone Mage, don't know how you say that, can be accompanied by their signature, gonna have to say it again, Alarthrith units, along with Venari Olarian Wardens, who form the common core of many Lumineth forces. Unique faction leaders like Archmage Teclis can often be accompanied by any units from their faction. In rare cases, some powerful heroes can even include other hero units in their regiment. For example, the mighty Lord of Khorne, who can be accompanied into battle by Gore chosen heroes. This tends to result in armies that are much more thematic, with each hero accompanied by the kinds of troops you'd expect to see at their side. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. I don't know if it's going to work out that way, but it sounds like it's got good intentions to try and be the sort of narrative into the game as well, which I think is cool. And then, yeah, and a lot different to how it's been. It kind of reminds me a little bit like I've been getting into, while I'm waiting for 4th edition to drop and get back into Age of Sigmar, because there's no real point in me doing it beforehand, or I'm just playing games that the experience won't really mean much to me in learning the new edition. So in the meantime, I've been playing the Middle-earth strategy battle game, which has actually been really quite fun learning it. I've only at this moment had like one game, but it's been really good to sort of learn it, and I think it's a really quite good game, to be fair. And that works in like a hero brings troops with him in his own warband, and different heroes can bring different troops or a different amount of troops, and that kind of reminds me of what they're doing here. It's not exactly the same, but it kind of feels inspired by it, to me anyway. So what we got here, form regiments. So 1 to 5 regiments per army, must pick one hero to be a general. Okay, so the first one, for example, each regiment has one hero and 0 to 3 non-hero units, 0 to 4 if the hero is a general. Okay, so that is the benefit for having a general at the moment. So reinforced double points cost unit size. So reinforced double points cost and unit size. Okay, some hero units allow the addition of extra heroes to the regiment. I'm just reading that again. Reinforced double points cost and unit size. I don't really understand that. Like if you reinforce the unit, obviously, like if your unit has 5 models, you reinforce it so it has 10. It costs double the points. That kind of just, yeah, why wouldn't it? Maybe I don't understand that sentence there. I'm sure someone can explain to me in the comments if I'm just being an idiot on that one. So every unit within a regiment deploys together as a single drop. So that's also like that, the Lord of the Rings game, basically. You can reinforce most non-unique units with more than one model, and while there is no longer any limit on the number of units you can reinforce, you may no longer double reinforce units. Okay, that's interesting. So again, I don't know with things like there might be some units that were units of 10 now, maybe they're units of 20, and then that means you can still have blocks of 40 models in unit, or maybe you can't. Maybe it's the big blocks of 40, maybe even 60 models it's gone and not coming back, at least initially anyway. So that would be interesting to see. Otherwise, the restrictions of the current edition are gone. Okay, so battlefield roles such as a battle line behemoth or artillery are a thing of the past, explains product developer Ben. We've heard a lot about Ben so far in this video. Once you've got a hero as your general, you have a ton of flexibilities in how you build your roster. If you want to build a list that's just a single hero and a swarm of doom wheels zooming around and causing havoc, we won't stop you. Okay, that sounds absolutely hilarious and a lot of fun. Don't know how good that'll be in the game, but you know, they're getting new shiny rules this game in, so we'll have to see. But it will have an impact on the game because anything that isn't in a regiment has to be an auxiliary unit. Okay, so auxiliary units. Which just reminds me, I think there was auxiliary objectives for a long time. Auxiliary units offer a way to pick additional units from your faction outside the confines of a regiment. There are no limits on how many auxiliaries you can take, but there's still a cost. Each auxiliary unit is deployed one at a time as a single drop. And the player with the fewest auxiliaries on the roster gets one extra command point at the start of each battle round. Wow, okay. These are a crucial resource in the new edition and scarier than before. Okay, so they mentioned that before, like command points mean more in the new edition, which is all quite fun. I'd rather that, like, you know, you have to think more about how you spend them rather than going, oh, I've got so many of them coming up my arse, it doesn't matter. So, yeah, that's basically saying, like, you have to go along with their regiment rule. You don't have to, you can go auxiliaries, but you're going to be heavily punished for it. So you're not really going to have auxiliary units unless you're playing fun games with your friend. Probably if you're going competitively, you're not going to do it. Which at the moment I haven't played the game, so the whole regiment thing might work out really fine anyway for me, and I don't need auxiliary units anyway. But I hope there's not a case of where you go, oh, I'd love to take this cool thing in my list. It's not in my army, it's not the best thing, but I want to take it because I've built and I've painted it. However, it doesn't fit into any regiment, so I have to take it as an auxiliary unit. And that would be sad. Hopefully that sort of thing doesn't happen. And then there's something else I was going to say as well. Yeah, deploy one at a time. So basically how we're used to deploying units essentially at the moment. So yeah, +1 command point per battle round. Yeah, you do not want to be giving your opponent that advantage. So command points are a scarce resource in this edition. There isn't a single war scroll or faction ability in the game that gives you additional points. Okay, so there's certainly things in the game at the moment that do that. So that is interesting to see. So that will severely limit it. Explains Matt, highlighting the value of sticking to your regiments. We've tried to keep army composition as open as possible to reflect the diverse array of forces found in the Mortal Realms, implementing soft incentives to push for armies that are thematic and maintain a healthy mix of units and heroes. So yeah, that's good. I hope it comes across as being thematic. I hope it doesn't just come as spamming a certain unit, which often happens in Age of Sigmar. You know, there's one really powerful unit in a book, but I think Age of Sigmar has been, you know, I haven't really been playing the game. From what I've heard, it's been pretty well balanced lately. So hopefully that continues with this. I do like it when it's like soft incentives. Basically, if you give your opponent 1+ battle round, 1+ command point per battle round, they set up here, it's really powerful. So I don't know how down here they can say it's only a soft incentive, but you know, it sounds a bit fun. So on top of your regiments, you'll also be picking your sub-faction. These are now called battle formations, which have been refocused around the fighting style of an army rather than their specific background. This invites players to mix and match a battle formation with their favourite colour scheme and any unique heroes they like. Okay, so that's an interesting way of doing it. So let me read that again quickly, because on the top of your regiments, you'll also be picking your sub-faction. These are now called battle formation. Okay, yeah, so they're getting rid of the name sub-faction, battle formations. And I don't know if they put it in the rules, but I feel like sub-factions was always just like a nickname people called them. Maybe they updated it, but which have been refocused around the fighting style of an army rather than specific background that invites players to mix. Yeah, okay, so sub-factions, they did always sort of like focus on the background, but always like, if I look at what's one that I know fairly well. So Legion, I said fairly well, I got the army name wrong straight away. Not Legions of Nagash, Soulblood Gravelords. You've got the different sub-factions. You've got Legion of Blood, Legion of Night. You've got the, I haven't played for so long. You've got basically the one with Prince Vahordre in it, which is like that was the one I was going to use as an example, and I can't even remember. Castellet, I think it is. Yeah. His one heavily focuses around Blood Knights, from what I remember. So if you took Blood Knights in it, Blood Knights were better, etc. And that's kind of what I liked about it. Certain sub-factions or battle formations now are better with certain models and units, and I hope that continues, and I hope each battle town, sorry, getting tired, is actually, like 3:30 in the morning when I'm recording this. Each battle tome I really want them to have enough battle formations, so that means it's not just like, right, there are 3 battle formations in this book. They each help 1 unit, so that means there's 3 units in this book that are really good and get lots of bonuses if you take them in certain battle formations. Don't take the other units because they don't have a battle formation, which means you won't be getting the most out of them, which then means the internal balance of a book is not very good. I hope that doesn't happen. I want to see them give each army, in their battle tome, 6 battle formations. Then I'll be happy. More will be better, but not 3, and make 3 units good and everything else trash. I don't want to see that. So other important aspects of army building are also sticking around, including artifacts of power, heroic traits, which will be used, known as command traits, as well as a spell laws, prayer laws, and shiny new manifestations laws, which will have details on later. Yep, cool. I'm a big fan of customizing with artifacts of power and heroic traits, or command traits, obviously before, and choosing spells. Yeah, I'm a big fan of customization. So glad to see they're still staying. We'll be writing about commands and how you receive command points at a later date. Heroic traits replace command traits operating in a similar manner, except for the fact that they can be given to any hero, not just your general. Okay, that's cool. Big fan of that. So you can sort of like pick and choose who you want. And also that's quite cool, because if you play, like one army a lot and most of the time, and you're like, oh, that's a cool command trait, but I'm not going to give it to this guy, because I'm never going to make this guy my general because he's not big, scary, or powerful enough. You might be like, no, I can make him have this command trait because he's not a good general, but he's good as he is. And if you're always going to give him this command trait, then you can model it, which I think is always the cool thing, isn't it? If you can model the rules onto a model, like, I don't know, let's say he's got like a fiery orb or something like that, you can model it and give it to him, or he's got like a pet or something, you could do it. It'd be nice. So yeah, cool. That's pretty nice. I do like that. I'm pretty happy for what I see from here, and I think, to be honest, that is my view of the rule so far. Some of it I'm skeptical on and a bit pessimistic, but overall, that's just because I generally over worry and think things. Overall, I'm seeing good things. I haven't read something I'm like, don't like that. The most I've seen is I read something and I go, not too sure how that's going to work, and I'm naturally going to think it could be the worst way possible. So I haven't disliked anything, which is pretty amazing, I think, compared to what I thought it would be. Anyway, I think that's a good point to leave this. I don't know how long this video is. It's probably between 40 minutes to an hour, something like that, which I think is good for a part 2. So again, guys, I thank you very much for watching this video. Also want to thank you all for people who commented on my last video. It was nice and quite heartwarming to see lots of people say like welcome back and all that stuff. So it's nice. It's always a bit nervous when you're like got a YouTube channel and stuff, and you upload a video and you go, people are gonna like it, especially when it's been so long as well. So it's really nice when I upload a video and I see a bunch of comments of people saying glad to see you back and all that stuff. So really does mean a lot to me when I say that sort of thing. Not saying you have to say that again in this video, I'm just being a thank you to all those people. It's really nice to see that, rather than you upload a video and don't get any comments and you're like, oh, do people still like my content? So it was very nice to see that. And of course, in the comments, do let me know what your thoughts are on the new rules, etc. Because again, I want to hear what you guys think, because some of you guys have probably been playing this game a bit more than me lately. Again, like I said, in 4th edition, I want to be smashing the games to get my knowledge there, my experience up with the new rules of the game, so I can make my tactic videos for you guys. I love doing that. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and also let me know what you would like to see me make for 4th edition Age of Sigmar. I'd like to do my army archive again, so it's a big thing, but I'd like to do what I did for, I think it was 2nd edition, where I went through every army and did about, I don't know, around about 10 videos for them. Some armies maybe less, but some armies definitely more. I think Slave Starkness I did, I don't know, maybe like 15 long videos for that army. But the whole point is it's no stone unturned. So if you're thinking about, if you read a rule in an army and you want to hear, like, you know, my thoughts on it, I won't skim past it. I'll go through everything, even the bad stuff, because, you know, where some people just go, oh, this is bad, don't take it. I like to kind of like explain why it's bad and why it might be better taking something else, rather than you just looking at your models that you just bought and go, oh, well, that's a bit sad. So anyway, let me know what you'd like to see in the future, or like battle reports and stuff I'm going to try and do for you. It'd be quite nice. Also, the what's going to say that Middle Earth strategy battle games. Like I said, it's the only game I probably will be playing until 4th edition is released. So if you guys are interested in that, I don't know if you are, I don't know if you will be. Really quite a fun game. But if you are interested in that, let me know as well with that, because I can make some game content for that if you're interested, to maybe give you like a battle report, or, you know, my tactic thoughts on it, etc. In the meantime, so I think it's probably going to be a couple of months or something until 4th edition, but let me know, you might be interested, might not be. But regardless, guys, thank you very much for watching this video. As always, I hope you're having a great time. I hope you're doing well and you're fighting that war against the Grey. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't, liked the video as well. If you did like it, it makes a massive difference. And until next time, remember that Nagash is all, and all is one in Nagash.